I'm coming to you at the end of a journey I started several months ago. This is the first video I've ever given any real effort into making, and I want you to know that because while the video starts off a bit rough, it also stands as a testament to how quickly someone can improve within the span of one project. As a fan of the creative process, I find that neat, and I hope you do too. I can't speak for any future videos, if there are any future videos, but this one is not monetized or planned. I just wanted to make something. Now, at the end, with the video fully edited, I can safely say it was a lot of fun. As a small disclaimer, this event is run by Captainlight, and you should watch his video first. I have no idea what alterations to the story and narrative he's made, but I will be presenting events as I experience them with a little added flair. If the two accounts differ, that is why. Now, let's take a look at a world far from our own. One where organized civilization is only just springing from the mud and grass. A land full of vibrant animals and colorful characters. A land that was doomed from the start. Welcome to the Pride Lands. And without any further ado... This is the morning report! Sounds good. I'll catch that flight soon. Well, of course I'm distracted. I'm wearing clothes for lion's sake. Wait, you can see me on TV? I'm live? This is the editor-in-chief of the Morning Report, broadcasting to all who will listen. I am here to regale you with a tale of friendship, betrayal, loyalty, tyranny, tragedy, and change. More specifically, my place in all of it, and by extension, my organization as a whole. Ladies and gentlemen, Captainlight's Lion King event. The first day was a chaotic mess full of repetitive resource gathering and doubts, so instead of describing that monotony, let me set the stage. I knew before the event was revealed that I wanted to play a journalist of some kind, and the Lion King premise provided the perfect opportunity to found the Morning Report, a Pride Lands-wide news organization. The character I was playing was an old gentle giant of a rhino who had lived peacefully in the Pride Lands his entire life. He held a firm belief in the circle of life and a drive to inform the population regardless of how hard the truth became. While I knew I would be a target, I had no idea how bad it was going to get for me. The rhinos and wildebeests had both spawned in the same area, and together we formed what would become Beanotopia. I didn't know it at the time, but our settlement was the largest and most powerful in the Pride Lands, and as the day progressed, a rhino by the name of Crow had kickstarted our food supply and stepped up to become our esteemed leader. It felt only natural to crown him our king, so I did.
Oh my god. The
I'm gonna
evolution.
make it.
Right, he's straining his brain cells. He can do it.
My millet.
No.
Oh my god.
Yo.
How did you miss?
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
The evolution.
All right, CA, just for that,
Wait,
take this.
wait.
Wait, it literally didn't work.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the consequences of this action would come to haunt me. Once food and resources had been dealt with, the rest of our troubles set in. Throughout both day 1 and 2, there were a series of serial killings using spike traps, and unfortunately one of our own, Cozy Crafted, was among the first to perish.
No.
Yeah, Cozy bit the dust.
They got
Someone
spiked.
built a trap. Yeah, there was a staircase and somehow it opened up to a spike trap.
As per usual with these events, if you died, you were dead forever, so there were talks about holding a funeral for the wildebeest. On top of that, it was my first event of this caliber ever, so the question of how I was even going to launch an entire news outlet was still a mystery to me. However, this train of thought was interrupted by a flock of birds on a diplomatic mission. Among their number was a flamingo named Curious Moore.
What the heck?
Well. If it isn't the birds.
Cookies, you
I
friends.
wanna
Friend
die. I
Have you
wanna
guys met this
die.
star guy?
We have
No.
not met this scar guy.
Star.
He's some kind of lion.
That's an edgy.
He's got green
that's a very-
eyes.
It's a very edgy.
I don't
name,
think he
really.
was loved much as a child.
Remember her for later. A rumor had started that a lion named Scar was aiming to be king, but since a great migration to Pride Rock was set to take place, I had to put tracking him down on hold. Once we had reached Pride Rock, however, Chaos took the event well and truly for the first time. The monkeys were late, so everyone decided to pass the time by invading Pride Rock itself.
Alright, let's go get executed.
I feel like we're gonna get like jumped by the lions.
We are about to now.
Hey, man.
Uh-oh. The owner's here.
Oh,
He's not
no.
happy.
No,
Quick, get
no.
into the top. Get to the top. Get to the
Defensive
top.
positions.
Defensive.
Oh,
position. We need to defend
Wait
against
a minute.
God.
There's not
It wasn't long before we were testing the limits of our removed fall damage.
Someone test fall damage. Bet. Bet.
Oh, there are so many people.
Wait, are we actually jumping off?
No one's dying.
Everyone else is.
Ah.
As every physicist ever rolled in their collective graves, I made a major milestone in becoming a journalist. You see, up until this point, whenever I asked for an interview, most players would either not hear me or ignore me. Starting out without legitimacy is an uphill battle, but I fought it, and it paid off.
Do you believe there will be any societal repercussions for the actions taken today?
I need armor, dude.
No.
Despite trampling through the lion's den, Mad SXP and She Exists turns out to be correct. No punishments were handed down, however we were promptly evicted from Pride Rock so that Mufasa, or King Trog, could make his speech.
Ladies and gentlemen, my beloved pride of Savannah. Today I stand before you with a heart full of hope and pride as your Lion King, and I cannot help but marvel at the incredible journey you all have taken all have taken upon together. We who have chosen to embrace a lifestyle of the wild and not merely survive, but we've thrived. Our story is one of unity, resilience, and the enduring spirit of pride. But I do have big news. I present to you my future king.
Woo!
Or your future king.
Yeah! Yeah!
Great ladies.
Thank you all. You may return. You may now
Now do the
return.
gritty.
And remember, all civilizations shall remain united under my great kingdom. I will have a chat with some of you about securing the elephant graveyard border to prevent further escalations. And thank you all for joining for this amazing news. Yeah!
Mediocre speech aside, sorry Trog, the news of Duvid as heir to the throne and the need to shore up the border against the hyenas raised many questions for me and got me excited. I'd gotten my first taste of journalism, and it was time to use the remaining time in the day to strike out and figure out who exactly was out there. After coming across the system of tree houses that made up the birds' camp and finding no one, I had a random encounter with a man named Gladiator 99.
Hello? Is anyone home? Oh.
Hello there.
Hello, Mr. Gladiator. I seem to be at an empty settlement. Do you have time for an interview?
Sure.
I'm with the Morning Report. With the recent activity and the king saying that they need to shore up some borders and the close proximity to the elephant graveyard that we have, how do you feel about the current situation?
Walk, walk.
Alright. How is the bird situation doing?
I think hamburgers and cheeseburgers go well with fries.
Right. Well, I'm gonna go find someone who speaks English.
Little did I know, the Walking Schlad reference was going to become a key player in the coming days. As I progressed, I decided to turn on a bit of thematic music for my journey, but then...
Oh, whoa.
Hello there.
Hello.
I heard about something called the Morning Report. Can you tell me a
Yes,
little bit about
I
it?
am a reporter for the Morning Report. I am here taking a survey and a general feeling for all of the animals in the Pride Lands.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes, I have currently come across a raving parrot and no actual opinions, so I'm afraid I'm in dire straits. But if I can finally get to one of the actual settlements, I'm sure I could get some actual interviews.
Wow, interesting.
Our esteemed Captain of Light scared the absolute bejesus out of me, and I have not forgiven him for it. At this point, time was running short, but I managed to make it to the Elephant Settlement. Correction, Galactic Elephant Settlement. They were creating a whole temple and religion out of this strange entity. Absolute blasphemy against the Circle of Life aside, they were also deep in a feud with the giraffes who, and I quote, didn't believe in them. Preposterous. Who says that about someone? The giraffes might have also killed someone, but I can't confirm it. Either way, they were asking for more animal power and resources to begin construction and enforcement of the border between the Pride Lands and the Elephant Graveyard, a task that looked monumental from where I was standing. It was at this point the day ended. I left nothing out. Yep. No monkeys buried me in a hole. I did not suffer trauma. Moving on. Despite the day having ended, my work was far from over. We had a full week until day 2 of the event began, and every player was rushing to create their community discords and get their plans in motion. I was no exception. Putting out an ad for reporting jobs, I ended up actually hiring Gladiator99 as my deputy editor-in-chief. We both agreed that the truth is what mattered. However, when I asked what his price to lie in the paper would be, if any, he replied with, and I quote, about 14 carats. I myself saw this as perhaps a tad concerning, but the rhino I was playing? Not even an eyebrow raise. Along with Gladiator came Curious Moore, a bird with a pure heart and surprisingly unshakable convictions. She was to be the boots-on-the-ground reporter and occasionally help with the paper. Speaking of the paper, it was decided that the morning report would be delivered through Discord and constructed via Google Slides. What resulted was an actual full-on paper detailing in several pages the comings and goings of the Pride Lands. I will not be showing it on screen in favor of whatever I've decided to chuck up there, but you can find all 6 papers, including the final report, down in the description. I highly recommend them since they are not only capable of capturing the tone and knowledge of the time they were written, but may cover some things I've cut for time's sake. With Gladiator helping me set up the Discord server and get people in, I found myself with a massive subscriber base almost overnight. I put out requests for interviews to shore up the knowledge I was lacking, and many from all walks of life came to give their 2 cents. If the Morning Report Discord server had been an actual, tangible building, we would have been flooded. From this, I learned that the giraffes were partaking in banditry, having robbed a few diamonds from a player, but other giraffes were condemning these actions and disassociating with their peers. Furthermore, the hyenas were reaching out in an attempt to be peaceful. The Elephant Graveyard was rich in mineral resources, but food and plant life was almost non-existent. They'd managed to survive by the grace of the Tree of Life, the only tree that had grown in the graveyard and one of rich religious significance to the hyenas. For now, it didn't seem the hyenas wanted conflict. It's unfortunate that other forces in the Pride Lands had different plans. Right before day 2, we released the first issue of the Morning Report, and I was overjoyed to see that everyone was eating it up. The Pride Lands was informed, and I'd found my place in the event. Day 2 rolled around, and mobs were a thing now, meaning phantoms were raining from the sky.
Hey, we're living here now, thank you.
After huddling in our homes for a while, the residents of Beanutopia began preparing for the upcoming stampede through the canyon, leaving me fairly tied up and wondering how my colleagues were doing. Both had headed down to the Elephant Graveyard to make official contact with the hyenas, and I can only hope that the Elephant Graveyard was as peaceful as the hyenas made it out to be. To kill time while Crow and the monkeys began talks of an alliance, I grabbed Cozy Crafted the Resurrected for an interview. You see, Lights had deemed his sudden death bad faith, as the grace period between settlements hadn't even ended by the time he perished. Plus, RDM is just bad faith roleplay and put a bad taste in everyone's mouth.
This is interview number 6. I'm here with Cozy Crafted, a rhino who is legendary for having come back from the dead itself. Cozy, how did you come to be in the afterlife?
Right. So I co-own a moss farm with Chi. I was told somebody had built a staircase up to the surface because our farm is down, way down in the Deepstate area. I went up and I started looking for this staircase that I was told about to get back up because I wanted to come hang out with some more friends up topside, you know? and I found what appeared to be a staircase, and I followed it. I was walking along, and the next thing I know, I'm falling, and I'm falling, and I keep falling all the way down to bedrock. And at the bottom, what awaited me? See, I thought I was okay, because fall damage was not on. But at the bottom, somebody had placed a stalactite. And keep in mind, this was a 1x1 hole straight down. So it was not naturally spawning. It was a intentional trap set by someone.
Now, this may be one of the most pressing questions in not just the Pride Lands, but the world itself. What is the afterlife like?
Lonely. Sad. You're not allowed to go to your home.
Oh.
You're just trapped on a screen that says disconnected from the world. I was scared, I was confused, I was lost. There was a light. Some would say even a captain light.
Soon, the stampede through the canyon was commencing, and instead of finding the body of a dead monarch, I found several alive ones, including a person I'd been aiming to talk to for a very long time.
Hello, our king.
Hello?
Our king.
Hello.
Hello there.
Yes, that was Scar, played by Carl Crafts, and he was flanked by Simba and Mufasa, played by Duvid and Dr. Trog. It was a holy trinity of interviews, and it had just fallen into my lap. But I hesitated. Something was very off.
Oh, look, they're saying hi to their king. Hi,
Hello,
everyone.
my king.
Hi.
You're
Hi.
Hello.
Oh, yeah, no, my bad. Not the king. Yet. Been on your dad this whole time. Every few seconds I run up to them and just give him a little bit of a bop. See if I can just knock him off the edge, you know? Nothing. Nothing.
I think, listen, we can offer you a free lifetime supply of cookies if you stop killing things.
Ooh, look, I'll take the lifetime supply of cookies. That's a done deal. I will take that.
But
Sorry, mate. Your mic was breaking up a little bit there, so I just heard you say you wanted to give me a lifetime supply of cookies with no responsibilities at all. Not a part of the hierarchy? Look, I am third in line to the throne. Just gotta get rid of some other pesky lions.
I mean that.
He was the most blatant wannabe king I've ever seen. There was no attempt to hide the oncoming assassination. I absolutely needed to get an interview with these guys, and luckily I did. But Carl's blatant acts of only got worse.
I turn around for 1 second, and the entire lion pack abandons me. I turn to
interview right now, okay?
I'm interrupting an interview because you abandoned me! And what's worse, you put
apologies.
Paula in danger! Let's go stand on the edge over here, Dr. Trog. Let's go stand on the edge of the cliff. It's good practice for you. Yeah, I know, you're a huge fan of heights. Just... Damn it.
Yeah, we like movies.
And then when the interview did kick off, Carl only thought about eating me.
Maya, what is the current, oh, dear. I'm gonna come stand behind you if you don't mind.
But I did manage to get what was the second biggest interview of the entire event.
What is all of your opinions on the current political landscape in the Pride Lands?
Scar for king.
I think everyone here can agree that that is a very bad, misleading statement, and we should all ignore it.
Long live the king.
And we should all ignore it. When it comes to most of what's been going on, honestly, I have no idea.
Rude.
So maybe my father here has an idea. I honestly don't know. I'm a young child. I'm ignorant and all that.
So currently with the political climate, I know that there are a few disputes going on between peoples. We're headed around to the elephants right now to try and talk to them about it and the border issues that they're having. Currently, I really hope that everybody's getting their infrastructure down. That's what we've been focusing on to try and keep ourselves, the lions, safe, and I hope that others kind of follow in their footsteps. try to make sure that the monsters don't get through, make sure we have enough food for everybody to live happily and peacefully, because food is kind of the big thing. If you're hungry, you start to act out. My brother kind of has some issues when he's hungry.
Sir Scar, you have been, I feel a little uncomfortable talking in front of the current regent, but you have been going around claiming tentatively on occasion and then backtracking that you are the new king. What is your
no, not the new king. No. I'm third in line. Before me is Dr. Trog, and then after Dr. Trog, of course, there's Duvid. I'm third in line to the kingdom, so something terrible would have to happen to both Dr. Trog and Duvid for me to, take place in the kingdom. Which, of course, we never want that to happen. We never.
100%.
No. We would never want to see anything happen, and for me to be the ruler of these fair lands. One can dream, though, can't they?
And yet, these kingly revelations were only the second biggest question in my mind. Earlier that day, before the stampede, this happened.
Oh dear lord, that's a rhino.
Oh my god.
Wait.
I'm gonna go have an existential crisis.
Ladies and gentlemen, you saw that correctly. Lights had confirmed our worst fears. We were all furries.
And into the trash you go.
Our legendary quadruped rhino ancestor was crowned the Rhino Queen to our esteemed leader Crow, and named the last of its kind. But when Carl was told about it...
Ooh, I bet they'd be delicious.
No.
Sorry, I might have read the room wrong there. I was thinking about food again.
After the kingly interview, I was immediately shoved in a cell by the giraffes so that they could answer my burning questions.
I have finally tracked down the giraffes, and they have imprisoned me for the interview, which I have mixed feelings about. How did day one go for all of you?
Pretty well, actually.
Yeah. There are several allegations from other species regarding your raucous behavior. Would you like to address those?
We have nothing to do with those people, don't we?
Yep. We don't know.
Is there a food shortage? Are all your needs being met?
Well,
yep, we got a lot of food.
Yeah, we got food, but at one point a bird, not a bird, but like a parrot came down and destroyed the farm.
I will note that the Morning Report is an entirely neutral faction within the Brightlands. No,
stay that way.
Yeah, I prefer to keep my neck, as it were.
That's called foreshadowing.
If I had to take a guess as to why the giraffes were on edge, it was probably because they were being accused of being a hostile group the entire event. And while there were definitely giraffe ne'er-do-wells out there, the ones at this camp were definitely not them. Despite their paranoia, they let me go, and with my newfound freedom I began searching for Curious Moore and Gladiator. It was about this time I began to truly understand the skills needed to be a journalist. The distribution of information was something everyone I met seemed to appreciate and respect. Gaining that information involved a lot of gaslighting, gatekeeping, and girl bossing your way into making people believe you were worth giving answers to. And lastly, the navigational and survival skills needed to navigate the lawless sections between settlements. So, naturally, I got needlessly lost in the elephant graveyard for 20 minutes and beset upon by mobs of supernatural origin.
Oh dear God. Probably one of the most horrifying ventures I've ever been on. Oh no.
Luckily, I escaped and found my way back to Beanatopia, where Curious Moore and Gladiator were taking interviews and pictures, much to my relief. They told me they'd visited the thunder-worshipping monkeys and been taken in by the hyenas, who were indeed as kind as they made themselves out to be. But that's when Curious said something very interesting.
And welcome to us. They got a human there.
A human?
A human! It's the first human I've ever seen.
What's a human?
This is about where I, as a player, realized the event wouldn't be a one-to-one Lion King simulation. But we'll get to that in a bit. Soon we had a surprise visit from Ark and Kitrix, who were playing Rafiki and Nala. Apparently, they hadn't been on in quite a while, so I used my vast knowledge of the Pride Lands to catch them up as quick as I could. This process was interrupted when someone tried to burn my house down.
Subject. The King's brother Scar is, what is going on?
I've done nothing.
Despite its radio being apprehended, something wasn't sitting right with me, and that gut feeling was confirmed when someone tried to continue the arson. I vowed to clear his name, but the perpetrator wisely backed off, ensuring I couldn't catch him in the act. With the situation left in limbo, the morning report staff split, with Gladiator taking She Exists, a possible hire, to the giraffe base, and I heading off with Curious Moore to check on the elephants. Our journey was instantly interrupted by a familiar face.
Hello, Scar.
Part of
Fancy
the
meeting
morning
you out
report.
here.
I love the morning report.
Watching Curious Moore interview the decidedly less treacherous acting Carl Crafts made me shed a tear of pride. She'd fallen well into the role and had gotten very good at her job, and soon Carl Crafts left happy, being guided by a bird. We made a stop at the giraffe space to witness their glorious leader in action and left before we could resume the feeling of existential dread associated with knowing you're in a fursuit. Soon, we'd made it to the elephant space, where Curious began asking as many questions as she could. We even got a group photo of the entire elephant settlement huddling under the statue of their god. Needless to say, it was a wonderful birthday gift for TJ Plays.
Who the hell took the last piece of cake?
Curious got the information we needed for the paper and left, ending up finding the zebras and having our first encounter with Lexi Zargon.
I just got emotionally attached to you. Don't you dare die.
And then we ran into Carl Crafts again. It was like we were glued to this guy. Apparently, someone had been spreading misinformation about a civil war and famine, and he was there to investigate, but the zebras were perfectly fine. It wasn't long until Lexi was attempting to get Carl in on the business.
I feel like I'm being sold a scheme here, but go on. I don't know if you've all met my brother, the King of Pride Rock.
Yeah, he was really nice.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, that's all subterfuge. He's a terrible person. You shouldn't trust him. You should trust me, Scar, Carl Crafts, their brother, and of course, third in line to the throne. For now, I have to bid you adieu because I have got a king to kill.
What?
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 Curious, I
Okay,
think
Rose?
Scar might be trying to kill the king.
I think we need. Do we? Is it safe?
Is it safe?
Will he kill us?
The lion was out of the bag, and the morning report could no longer ignore Carl's treachery as a joke. We began plans to post a risky article accusing Carl of, well, being a Disney villain, and fears about being executed for it began to creep in. It didn't help that Dr. Tronk decided to troll the entire server with his own death.
The king is dead!
It's totally made up. Pure fiction.
I ran towards Pride Rock for the scoop, but ended up stumbling upon the giraffe space and into an entirely different mess.
Right, us as Beanatopia, we already have rhinos, wildebeest, and monkeys. Would you like to join us in exchange for protection?
We will protect you. Your leader was killed. The leader of the giraffes. The leader of the giraffes was just murdered.
Oh!
Oh
no!
Would be after that.
I think it's Rose.
You come here.
You think it's
Rose
me?
killed the leader of the giraffes?
I was over at Pride Rock. I have an alibi for that.
But the
I think
other
he's
thing is that
trying to make friends.
literally we're just friends, we're allies, we have no issues, and we're still helping each other.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh my goodness! Who started the fire?
And after just a little bit more arson, the day ended. Now, a good number of you who played in the event are wondering, what the actual hell happened between days to justify my actions? The more attentive viewer has probably pieced together a semblance of what, but it's at this time I have to urge you to watch Captainlight's Lion King simulation video if you haven't already. Down in the description, of course. The following events spoil major revelations, and those revelations would turn out to be sanity-destroying. Without further ado, let's get into it. The Morning Report Discord was immediately flooded by people wanting interviews. Between interviews, Mr. Gladiator kicked down my office door and hurriedly told me he'd been involved in the execution of its radio, the giraffe who had allegedly tried to burn down our HQ, and said he was in deep with a nameless organization who'd kill him if he talked. However, he was risking it to warn me that they were coming for me next as they wanted to silence the news. He left as quickly as he came, and soon I was embroiled in the next mess as Wolf Buttercup came in to tell me Crow was the one who killed the giraffe leader. It didn't help that the zebras started threatening me after Gladiator warned them against giving me that information. Lethally. And with my life at risk from Carlcrafts, possibly the zebras, and a shadow organization, I was steeped in paranoia. I had to figure out who was out to kill me, figure out who was telling the truth and who was lying, and write an entire morning report issue in 6 real-life hours. This resulted in an actual mania overtaking me, and soon I dived headfirst over the deep end. Who tried to burn down my house? Who could have gotten away with it twice? There was a parrot named Deadline spreading rumors about a civil war and other trouble, plus he had no name tag and could fly. Of course he could sneak around. Who else was the parrot seen with? Carlcrafts? The parrot was his guide. They were working together? But wait, what's this? A wedding picture including the hyena consoles and a mysterious figure without an animal skin? Was that a human? How much authority does he have to officiate a wedding? And there was a group photo taken after that, and the parrot right next to him. This human, unknown ethereal, had to be someone of massive significance, and is that its radio right next to him too? That was it! Unknown Ethereal was the leader of the Shadow Government and was working with Carlcrafts, the Hyenas, and the Parrot to destabilize and take over the Pride Lands through Dr. Trog's oncoming assassination. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I had discovered the Lion King Deepstate, but with no hard evidence to back it up and a shrinking time limit, I decided I needed to raise hell before my discoveries were silenced. I told Curious and Gladiator to be extra careful day 3 under the pretense that Carlcrafts might come after them, but in truth I was preparing to step down as I was about to go behind their backs and I didn't want to drag them down with me. I wrote up a full conspiracy with a corkboard and everything before sliding it into the back of the 3rd issue to publish it. The fires of controversy sprung up instantly. With my loyalty to Crow and my disbelief that the man I crowned would kill the giraffe leader for power, I ditched the truth of the matter in favor of a crackpot theory that the giraffes were the ones who'd committed the assassination. The only reason Wolf wasn't immediately lynched day 3 was that Lexi Zaragon had managed to strike a deal with me to censor her name in the paper in order to protect her. This resulted in scorn from the giraffes. Cries of misinformation over the other aspects of the conspiracy were rampant as well, but the betrayal of my colleagues hurt the most. I hadn't cued the rest of the morning report in on my actions, so they had plausible deniability. They acted accordingly, with hostility. But right before the next day started, I would get a message that would confirm I was onto something.
Did you think that I would not notice?
It was Unknown Ethereal. He claimed that my paper was problematic and incorrect, but offered to clear the air with a meeting. I knew that if my suspicions were correct, then I would be walking into the lion's den, but my principles disallowed me from discarding a chance to ensure the truth was brought to light. I accepted, preparing to head into the elephant graveyard. Ad time.
Have you ever felt like you're destined for something bigger? Like you haven't reached your full potential? Well, I've got something revolutionary for you. Your chance to join the business. In a world where glowberries and pickles hold the key to untold mysteries, the secret to success is hidden in the heart of the savannah, and I'm here to share it with you. Picture this. Financial freedom, time flexibility, and the chance to be your own wild beast. This is more than just a way to make a living. It's a lifestyle.
Legal disclaimer. Results may vary based on personal circumstances. Outcomes may surpass the comprehensible. Joining the business does not guarantee financial success and may unravel mysteries better left untouched. Participants accept and acknowledge the potential harm and cosmic consequences that may result in joining the business, as well as the possibility of journeying beyond the mortal realm, and relieve the business of any and all legal responsibility. The business is not affiliated with any recognizable entity, business, MLM, or financial institution. Any perceived association is but a shadow cast by the transcendental nature of the business. Individuals are advised to navigate the realms beyond the ordinary with caution. No striped animals were harmed in the production of this advertisement.
Day 3 opened with me running for my life. Having freshly escaped the giraffe base, chat grew increasingly spicy between myself and Gladiator, who was hinting at wanting to kill me. I ended up hiding in the side of a mountain just in case someone followed me, but then...
Oh.
Julian! Are you hiding it?
Absolutely. I don't know if the hyenas are currently hostile towards me or not, so until I get word, I am going to be as cautious as I possibly can be. I've already been threatened by my own deputy-in-chief, which I did not expect, to be honest. But while my wounds are healing, and my actions are wounding, the truth must be sussed out.
I see. Well, good luck.
It turned out I hadn't waited long enough for pursuers to pass me by.
Ah, it's nice.
You!
Whoa! Gladiator! Listen, I can explain. I can explain everything.
Explain then.
It's all a shadow coup, alright? There's more forces at work than just Scar out here. Ethereal, he probably controls everything. Don't you think it's suspicious that other humans in the Pride Lands?
Ethereal is innocent. He told me so.
That is no basis for the truth, Gladiator. You know that. I selected you because you knew that.
He pinky promised.
He pinky promised! Gladiator, I know this is very emotional for you, and it is for me as well, but I must get to the bottom of what is going on here. It doesn't make any sense. Why would the hyenas attack if they are so well taken care of at home? And why would a hyena spread misinformation to us if something wasn't going on? There are two conflicting stories here.
I never saw you here. Forget it. Ethereal has summoned me to the elephant graveyard. I've got to go.
Good luck to you!
Post-production Rose here. See, we actually did have a hyena come to us in an interview and say that the hyenas were going to march upon the Pride Lands. They didn't support it. All good. Now you know. I eventually made it into the hyena's base, which turned out to be a fortress embedded into the elephant graveyard's deepest lair. If they were looking to appear good in nature, then they were failing. However, I proceeded regardless and eventually found my way to Ethereal. The first interaction was this.
Ethereal, stabby, stabby.
No, Maverick, not yet. Depends on their answers.
While I was relegated to waiting it out with Lego, since Ethereal was at that moment busy, I began to grasp the true scope of the situation I was in. My presence at the hyena camp meant I couldn't interfere with what was about to happen, granting Ethereal complete control over the situation. I could not warn the king, I could not escape, I could only interview the wildebeest assigned to guard me.
I will admit, the king's lackluster performance has left much to be desired. I hold that opinion as well. But is this truly how we wish things to play out? There could be major bloodshed on the plains today.
What the leader we don't question.
You don't question it? Why not?
There's no point to question.
Of course there's a point to question it. You were what?
I was created.
Created?
I am 50% human, 50% wildebeest.
What?
This was all done by the
a lie. That was a lie.
That was not a lie.
Exiled? Why have we exiled them when we could have eaten them?
Gladiator, Carl Crafts, and Ethereal were all together, both conducting a corrupt interview and getting ready to depart for the Stampede. Despite giving Lego the slip and telling him that I'd be waiting bondage-free when Ethereal wished to talk to me, I could still do nothing to save anyone else in the Pride Lands. I had rung the alarm, and I could only hope that everyone had heeded it. It was, however, too late. Dr. Traw got to experience what fall damage felt like, despite attempting to water bucket his way to safety.
Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, the king has a skill issue.
Now that nothing could stand in his way, Ethereal finally waved me over.
You wanted to interview me and get my side of the story as the one that seeks the truth, yes?
I do, yeah. There are many things in the Pride Lands that are completely up in the end right now, especially after today.
Oh, today was just, don't worry about it. Today was the finality.
I find it hard to not worry about it when there was a coup.
There wasn't a coup. What happened was the familial dispute that I've been trying to prevent with the hyenas. Why do you think we were there in full weapons? We weren't part of the stampede. We weren't part of the ceremonies because we knew that there was something happening. We were trying to stop it, Rose.
Oh my God,
so who is the one that tried to push it forward?
Tell me everything that you know, your entire side of the story. I wish to hear it.
We came to this land in search of new promises and new civilizations. And we found hyenas as the first. They were the first ones that did not discard us like the giraffes. They did not try to kill us like, for example, the zebras at the start. They did not try to entrap us. They instead talked to us first. And we gave them the ability to grow on this land. And from this land on, They have expanded, as you can see, to diamond armors, to something they never even knew about before. And the Tree of Life has been their ceremonial purpose because it was the one living thing on this land. And then on, with my civilization, we came in and provided for them as much as possible in defenses, in armor, in growing and agriculture. And from there, what they did was astonishing. They established a civilization that we never foresaw and basically asked us to help them spread this civilization far. We found out a plot, a terrible plot, to assassinate the king. We are here to help the king. But the thing is, the king was unfortunately killed. So, with Carl saw it coming a mile away because he planned it without our knowledge at first. I gave him an offer to unify the people together with the vision of the hyenas. And he did follow through at first, and now he has taken power. Crow, he did manage to persuade Carl to stand back on the assassination parts, and actually Trog, turns out, was the one that was using his brother's voice to enact evil. Do you think that Carl wanted to ever eat somebody? No, it was all the words of his brothers. He was scared of what his brother would do to him. We saw the actions. Highness can pack me up. It was awful. You know why he's named Scar? That scar was caused by his brother. Ghost and me are part of the Ethereal Star Syndicate. He's my security guard. Ghost, why don't you show that kind man over here what the civilization brings?
I'm Ghost. I'm from Ghost Starline. I have partnered with my very good friend Ethereal from Ethereal Corporation. We've started this operation to find resources for a new project for Ghost Starline. As you can see, we can clearly bring civilization to this barren landscape, which when we first arrived at Ethereal, you already know, it was really bad. But now look at it. Look at the Tree of Life. It's doing so well.
I am impressed, I should say, first and foremost. It is indeed a triumph to live in such a wasteland, in such prosperity.
We can do it on a bigger scale. We can make your guys' civilization prosper in any way.
I see the point, but the methods do concern me.
Civilization offers more gifts than you are ever capable of being aware.
I believe you may have a point on that one, sir. I only have one question.
Yes.
What are the implications to the Circle of Life if such a civilization is implemented?
It will be a good life. A life where none go hungry. A life where none go tired or without shelter. The life of perfection where you can only improve yourselves. Utopia. The people are safe. We are free.
Do you notice anything off? Perhaps a few half-truths, a lie here and there, perhaps even a conflicting motivation between the two human parties? I certainly did, but kept my mouth as shut as I could, only asking questions and not forcing confrontation. The mainland's ability to provide aside, Ethereal was obviously a man who spun webs, and as much as I wanted to, I couldn't trust a single word that came out of his mouth. Additionally, our first interaction had set the benchmark. If I didn't see things as the Ethereal Star Syndicate saw them, I would be executed. Despite an earlier conversation with Chaotic Ander, the head priest of the Tree of Life, leading to a promise to keep me safe, as long as I was on temple grounds, I did not believe even that would protect me should I cross the event horizon, and I did not wish to bring Chaotic Ander down with me. Black magic, human-animal hybrids, extraterrestrials from shores unknown, sometimes the truth was stranger than fiction, and now these humans had control of the monarchy even if the people didn't know it yet. Still, the utopian promises had struck a chord within me. I had a lot to consider and spent my time in the temple doing so. Little did I know that the world would give me one last doozy before the day was complete.
I am meeting with Ethereal.
BRB.
Oh, you know.
I am. You're wearing a golden helmet.
Nobody, don't worry.
Yes, because I'm the left-hand man to the king now. Bit of a step
Scar?
up from your deputy
Yes.
editor-in-chief, you conspiracy theorist.
Yes, quite a step up. An ambitious step up as well. You are still upholding the truth.
Sure. Whatever.
I'm cutting the day prematurely. We need to talk. You have most likely noticed that I've conveyed some interesting behavior from Gladiator both in and out of event time, so I will lay the meta information to bear. He was the one who planned to kill me. Overcome with ambition, Gladiator had fueled my paranoia and planned to kill me for my position. He threatened Wolf Buttercup because he was involved in Crow's plan to expand Beanotopia's influence into giraffe territory. Little did he know that such a union and plan would land him as Carl Craft's right-hand man, ensuring he had power over security, resources, and information. To my knowledge, discovering Ethereal and his influence was a pure coincidence, a shot in the dark that actually hit. And now, to survive, I would have to placate both Ethereal and Gladiator. The deal was that I would rejoin the Morning Report at the bottom of the totem pole and continue to write. Ethereal would feed me conspiracy theories to sow division in the Pride Lands, while Gladiator would ensure I didn't write anything problematic. My hands were as tied as they came, and I complied, announcing that the elephants were getting ready to wage war and using Evergreen's raid on the old hyena base to frame the entirety of the giraffes as rebels, dragging the zebras down with them. I truly had sold my morals for survival, but that didn't mean I was down and out. At the end of day 3, I had managed to patch things up with Curious Moore, someone I knew for a fact wanted nothing more than to uphold the truth. I sent her all the information I had gathered, the black magic used by the humans, their armor and weapons, the ship they were using to transport resources, the religious implications of the Tree of Life not recognizing Ethereal as a living entity, and finally, I had come to believe the Ethereal Star Syndicate would destroy our culture and way of life while exploiting our resources. In short, I believed we were being colonized by the British. Ethereal and his colleagues were sitting on top of a freshly fortified Pride Rock, practically untouchable in every sense of the word, bringing in mining equipment to extract the rock's valuable resources. My goal was clear, but I had no way to bring Ethereal down. The only choice left available to me was to become a spy, collect information, put hidden messages in the paper, and hope I could deposit that information when I eventually ran into a group of like-minded individuals. Despite coming from a PvP background, I was playing a peaceful old man, so if I was caught, it would mean certain death. That opportunity to assist the rebellion would come, but unfortunately, for days 4 and 5, my mic didn't record any audio. And since I didn't think I was going to be making an hour-long video this long, I didn't have the replay mod either. This is the first video I've ever edited, and this is a cry for help. Day 4 started with confusion and a tour of what had been lost. Dr. Trog hadn't been the only casualty of the stampede, as the zebras had lost one of their own to the monkeys. As a result, their base was abandoned, and the true political landscape of the Pride Lands was anyone's guess. As for King Scarl, which is what I'll be calling him from now on, everyone was a bit shocked but hopeful that his leadership would turn out for the better. Dr. Trog wasn't exactly the most hands-on king, and perhaps a firmer approach would be better. These hopes were immediately dashed from many when it was announced there would be a tax upon the population, and a freshly formed Pride Lands police department led by Gladiator would be coming around to collect.
Yo, can you pick it up?
It's one of the police cars.
Oh, yeah.
The wee really makes it though.
IRS form, along with a 26-page spreadsheet about tax.
And as expected, Ethereal had fully moved into Pride Rock and was, I'm going to say, comfortable there.
Okay, sure. You know what, Rose? Do what you need to do. I'm just gonna try to organize this mess.
Hey,
I did
what
read
way
the
did you
morning
guys
report.
go?
Oh, wonderful. A very interesting read. I do love the little seeds of the chaos you sow here and there, but I need them to keep up the good work. I don't... You know what? How am I sinister in any kind of way? I'm not sinister. What makes you think I'm sinister? Just because I accidentally might have taken over the Pride Lands, always be with the political party, and never seem to, you know, do anything, yet everything grows around me.
Well, I'm gonna go jump off a cliff now.
Understandable. Have a great day, Rose.
My ears are
My
as bad as my eyes.
accurate reaction. That is my accurate reaction to anything. I'm gonna go jump off a cliff now.
I have to paraphrase my lines. Curse you, Obius! And like that, it was time for my meeting with the birds. Curious and I had set up this meeting at the start of the day with the aim of tying up loose emotional ends and discussing how to organize the birds against King Scarl. Apparently, they had formed the BIF, or Birds Investigation Force, and would make information gathering a fair bit easier. But to explain that entirely, I must defer to... Curious herself. I need to check the graveyard. One moment.
Hello? Where is everyone? How long has it been? It's so dark and cold in here. Well, I don't know how long I'm gonna be here, so I might as well take advantage of the time that I have to tell my story. The last thing I remember was the war. Did we win? I remember my first day finding my true family like it was yesterday. I remember waking up in the Pride Lands by a river, scared, confused, and alone. But in the distance I heard the comforting and familiar sounds of chirping, like the ones I heard before I left my nest. I remember immediately reaching out to the brightly feathered birds in the distance, and after some consideration, they agreed to take me in as a member of their group. I felt a strong sense of belonging, and a strong desire to keep everyone safe. I remember collecting blue flowers, like the comforting color of my friends' feathers, and giving them to people I felt were my friends, people that I could trust. We were equals. We were family. With each day, my loyalty grew. We wanted to help. We wanted to be friends the other animals could rely on in their time of need. Since the first day Scarl visited us, we had a feeling of distrust. That very first day, we agreed to fulfill our roles as loyalists and successfully managed to play that role on his stage until the rebellion and their plans surfaced soon before the war. Initially, we had no issues with Scarl, as we didn't know him or his intentions. But over time, things started to become clear as day the kind of ruler he would inevitably become, and the challenges we would be met with in the future. I managed to stay neutral for quite some time when it came to the political affairs in the Pride Lands. The birds were neutral too. We had no enemies. But it wasn't just the birds that I had loyalty towards. It was the Pride Lands. I was determined to seek the truth and nothing but the truth in order to respect the fundamental right of each animal to their freedom and autonomy. These values that I stood by were the same values that eventually led to my death. They gave me the opportunities that, if given the chance, I would take again, to become a writer for the Morning Report and experience the destruction and corruption of the Pride Lands before anyone else could see it. I just wish I would have known how it ends so I could have done more for the cause, more for the freedom of our people and putting an end to tyranny. I wish I could have helped prevent the deaths I had witnessed. They deserve so much better. I pray that we won and it wasn't all in vain. Either way, I don't regret dying for the cause. I would do it all over again. Win or lose, Rose. Memories of my mentor, Rose, were some of my clearest memories. I was aware, from the start of his intentions to release that information in the paper when he seemed to have lost his mind. My mentor and I often spoke in secret about our suspicions of a growing evil. We had suspicions that we wished to not have on our very own friend Gladiator. I slowly began to become less trustful of those around me, despite my desire to see the best in everyone. My mentor was the one person I always had trusted, until he had betrayed the paper and smeared its mission for neutrality. But I was more naive then, and when I saw the truths within, I learned to forgive and open my heart back. I had to keep a strong head on my shoulders if I was going to get this right. I remember as we prepared for the war to begin, I took the opportunity to officiate several weddings with haste on the rebel side. I'm glad I was able to help bring these couples together. I hope they have all been able to reunite with each other, in life or death. So much happened during the war. If only we had done more to prepare against such strong foes. A group of hyenas saw me, individually taking turns, stabbing me over and over again. Goodbye, my friends. I have treasured every moment spent with each and every one of you. I hope we won, so all of you could have better lives. Long live the rebellion.
Alright, I'm back. Graveyard was untouched. Why is there bird feathers everywhere? After the meeting, I decided to begin my search for the Ethereal Star Syndicate's ship, traveling to the Elephant Graveyard and encountering what remained of the hyena base. It had been stripped down and transported to Pride Rock. Even the Tree of Life, which had burned down, had taken root there after part of it was saved. While I didn't find any alien craft, I did find Raz Cherry and Angel Ivan roaming the wasteland with me. We were both surprised to see each other, and after they surveyed me on whether or not I liked the taxes, I caught on to the fact they weren't exactly the most loyal servants to King Scarl. Neither of us made a move to recruit one another, but I made sure they knew my allegiance was tenuous at best. It was at that point that raising Kodak was squashed by a falling anvil in some far-off execution, and I felt it was best to get out of the Elephant Graveyard. This was immediately followed by Xavier's being squashed by an anvil as well. Given that he was one of the hyena consuls, this was quite alarming. However, apparently, the rumor in chat was that he had attacked the king for some reason. These two deaths confirmed to me that there had to be some kind of organized rebellion out there somewhere. I was walking through the Elephant Graveyard with two people who weren't exactly fans of the king, and there was clearly a lot of discontentment throughout the Pride Lands. Kodak was even executed over his taxes, which was surely going to cause some kind of drama. This suspicion was confirmed in spades when I got a message from Lexi Zargon. She led me into the deepest parts of the abandoned zebra base, where she showed me something quite extraordinary. Paintings made by the zebra seer Wolf Buttercup depicted Crow killing the giraffe leader, King Scarl killing Dr. Trog and burning down the Tree of Life, and Duvid uniting the Pride Lands once more. The zebras had been constantly on edge throughout the day. Wolf had publicly accused Crow of murdering the giraffe leader, and Crow hadn't taken too kindly to it. Crow and Gladiator had even convinced the giraffes that Wolf was the one who committed the deed. At the end of day 4, things had finally come to a head, and Wolf ordered all the zebras and anyone disloyal to King Scarl to meet at the zebra base and flee to the rebellion's encampment. Lexi brought me into the fold, and with everyone gathered, we set off for the edge of the island. And to really show how big the island was, let me throw the entire map up on screen. When we eventually arrived, it warmed my heart to see Duvid alive along with the rest of the lion's pride. By this point, the giraffes had seen through Gladiator and Crow's lies and joined up, fearing they'd be next on the chopping block. We all united in a quaint encampment and discussed the information we had. My side of the story turned out to be invaluable, since no one in the rebellion knew the true scope of our peril. They wanted our resources, our land, our culture, our very souls. When I told them about unknown ethereal, one of the giraffes immediately got what I was implying.
So you're telling me he's English?
Now, with a sizable rebellion and a renewed sense of what must be done, day 4 ended. The lead up to day 5, however, is a bit of a blur. You see, real life stuff was hitting hard and I had basically no time to write the next issue, only getting the cover page done. I also ended up hiring Raz Cherry after she approached for a job, choosing not to mention her anti-tax motivations to Gladiator in the middle of the interview. She ended up writing a page on the taxes, plus a blurb about a wedding happening at the start of the next day. We both officially collaborated on sneaking encoded messages into the pages before getting it approved and shipping it off. It was at this point I noticed that Gladiator's oversight of the morning report was a lot looser than last time, as he would have kicked up a fuss about the lack of news being put out. However, he was so busy with his other duties he couldn't effectively keep us in check. I noted this for next time, and day 5 began. Though, honestly, there's only 2 big events that pertain to the morning report on day 5. After receiving some enchantments from a defective enchantment table, myself and Lexi headed off to Angel Evans and Chaotic Raz Cherry and Z's wedding. Pride Rock, where the wedding was taking place, was decked out in concrete and looked more like a fortress than anything else. Everyone who was anyone was attending the wedding, and just as I had come in, King Scarl had accepted Crow's proposal as well.
Ethereal, you gotta understand, my IRL fiance and I have an avocado ring box. This is right up here, straight real life lore over here.
The wedding bells sang, the marriages went through, and I'm sorry to say that was the last happy moment the Pride Lands shared together. Lexi brought Curious more up to date with the rebellion and got the birds officially in, but something much more sinister was brewing over at the elephant space. I have no footage since I was not there, however allow me to narrate how this tragedy unfolded. Keep in mind that while this is a very researched account, it is still a second-hand one. Elephant politics had finally reached a crossroads. Raz Cherry and Tedia Mia, elephants who had defected early in the event, had been embroiled in controversy for their decision. Today it came to a head with Gladiator ordering them captured, since Ethereal wanted them to join up or die. Lexi had told Wolf Buttercup that the police intended to execute Raz and TDM, so she kicked down the door and desperately attempted to negotiate their release, even showing the head of the operation, Derpy, her portents when she saw a chance to not only save the captive lives, but convert Derpy to the rebellion side. At the same time, Angel Livin was mining below the base attempting to save Raz Cherry's life, however their pickaxe broke. Duffson, one of the Ethereal Star Syndicate's enforcers, was present for the meeting and had reported the issue to Ethereal. Ethereal ordered Derpy to be slain, and soon combat erupted inside the elephant base as Derpy was killed. X-Leon executed Raz Cherry soon after, marking the first death of a Morning Report employee and breaking Angel's heart, as they'd been just 2 blocks from saving Raz. TDM was saved by Wolf, who began fighting her way out as the rebellion's forces swooped in for a perilous rescue. So much had gone down, the police didn't know who to kill, and so the rebels managed to get away without more deaths being had. In a fit of grief, Angel began burning down the elephant's base along with 5 others. After the incident, the elephant faction disbanded almost entirely, leaving their home burned to the ground and abandoned. As for myself, I wasn't even on the island when it happened. I was taking a round trip with Paya, a bird, in search of the Ethereal Star Syndicate's ship. Upon finding it, I entered into the alien spacecraft to find it already looted and damaged. Apparently, once I had tipped off the rebellion, they had managed to find it, ransack it, and distribute the wealth amongst the populace to offset the taxes. From there, I did a bit of poking around Pride Rock to ensure no one was going to be wrongfully lynched for the burning of the elephant base before being called to a meeting. Duvid had decided that recent events called for a total meetup of every member of the rebellion. There were so many attendees that Gladiator messaged me to find out why the Pride Lands was empty. Duvid set the record straight that he was not the one who killed Dr. Trog, and that when he retook the throne, there would be no more taxes. The people were thrilled. Something bird base, the day ended. The period between day 5 and 6 was far more eventful. I had infiltrated every Discord server I possibly could, and they were all going nuts. Everyone knew the final day was here, and that a massive fight between Duvid's forces and King Scarl's hyenas was going to take place. The hyenas Discord server was of special interest, as I gained access to part of the Ethereal Star Syndicate's Black Book, a record of contingencies and plans for all aspects of the Pride Lands. Angel Livin also snuck me a photo of their Pride Rock defense plan, one that didn't account for a rear attack. All of this information was turned over to the rebellion and planning commenced, though I had come across something that made me believe that any plan we committed to wouldn't be foolproof. The words were nuclear weapons. Being a rhino, I didn't even know what TNT was, but I made a note of it to Duvid and moved on with the meta-knowledge that we were probably screwed. Speaking of being screwed, I had come to terms with the possibility of my death. My cowardice had waned due to both the necessity of the task and the actions of Curious Moore. Her unwavering loyalty to her friends and family had greatly influenced me over time. Curious, Raz, Lexi, Wolf, Duvid, Angel, Z-Stuff. I had come to the realization that I did indeed have something to fight for other than my own neck. If we failed on day 6, they would all die, and I would do so before letting that happen. Day 6 began at the Bird's base where the rebellion was staging. Curious had used her position to sneak the rebellion's manifesto into the paper, and Gladiator hadn't lifted a finger to stop her. One that called upon him to do the right thing, and a lot of myself hoping I hadn't been an extremely poor judge of character when I hired him. I don't know if Gladiator read this or not, but regardless, his next act shocked the Pride Lands. Or at least it would, because there was a theme park? Someone had plopped down a zoo in the middle of the conflict, and I don't know who thought it would be a good idea. I mean, who'd run Drip Chicken!
Hey.
That's right. Sandyland was open to the public, and Drip Chicken was running a branch of Los Pelos Hermanos out of it. I interviewed Drip Chicken to mixed results.
For the morning report, for the paper, may I have two questions for you? One, from a scale of nothing to jumping around ecstatically, how well is business going?
After trading a stack of potatoes for more chicken, I realized I was a herbivore and couldn't eat it. Then it occurred to me that a chicken selling chicken was an interesting development. Does anyone know where the second chicken brother is? The rest of the park was... Wait. It blew up. Someone called in a bomb threat and the place was wiped from the earth. Drip Chicken was stuck in the Pride Lands, but that was a small price to pay for saving him from a terrible realization. Gathering back up with the rebellion, it was time for Gladiator to take center stage. He broadcasted a message to the Pride Lands, calling for peace in every Discord server he was a part of, and...
I'm Mr. Gladiator. I'm known by a lot of things and by many. I'm Chief of the Pride Lands Police Department. I'm Deputy King of Beanatopia. I'm right-hand man to King Scar of the Pride Lands and, well, some call me the Pink Rhino. But there's something I must tell you all. I don't want to be an emperor. I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Hyena, giraffe, yellow, pink. Animals are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not each other's misery. In this world, there is room for everyone. The good earth is rich, and we can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned animals' souls, has barricaded the world with hate into misery and bloodshed. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much, and we feel too little. Don't give yourselves to these brutes, these men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Do not give yourselves to these unnatural men, with machine minds and machine hearts. You're not machines, you're not cattle, you're men. You have the love for all animals in your hearts. You don't hate, only the unloved hate, the unloved and the unnatural. Don't fight for slavery, fight for liberty. By the promise of these things, brutes have risen to power, but they lie. They do not fulfill that promise, they never will. Dictators free themselves, but they enslave the people. Now let us fight to fulfill this promise. Let us fight to free the world, to do away with national barriers, to do away with greed, with hate and intolerance. Let us fight for a world of reason, a world where peace and progress will lead to all animals' happiness. In the name of democracy, let us all unite against these brutes. Brutes like King Scar! Thank you all.
Reacted to the police.
Oh!
Whoa!
Wait, what?
Whoa!
Oh no!
Whoa!
Wait!
Whoa! What?
The ripple was immediate. Monuments were erected and cries of action erupted from the bird base on all fronts. The entire rebellion was already geared for war, but now with the Ethereal Star Syndicate's assassination of Gladiator, the war had become unstoppable. The irony was that I, myself, was aware of Gladiator's villainous actions, but due to the separation between character and player, Rose was not. There was a vindication, a notion that hiring Gladiator had not truly been a mistake, but also confusion. What had changed for him to take such an action? I would never find out. Gladiator wasn't the only one with doubts about their actions either. Crow saw the sheer size of the rebellion's forces, saw the execution, and decided to meet with Duvid to negotiate King Scarl's survival in the coming conflict. He revealed he had handcuffs and tried to convince Duvid that chucking Scarl in prison was a preferable alternative to murder. However, before this conversation could conclude, the meeting was interrupted by Scarl himself, who caused all of us to scatter. Afterwards, we retreated to Pumbaa's hideout, where Kyrios officiated several weddings. The rebellion was physically ready, but not emotionally ready for the turmoil about to unfold. They all knew that the people they'd gotten to know over the course of the event could disappear for good, and so everyone rushed to tie up every loose end they could. As for myself, I was calling it mission accomplished. So many people had chosen this as their first role-playing experience and absolutely flourished. There were so many individual stories and friendships on both sides that regardless of the outcome, we'd all be calling it a good game when the dust settled. At the end of the day, that's the goal. So from one player to the others, well done. I took my mentor-level death flag, met with the whole of the rebellion, got assigned a role to document the entire battle and stick close to Duvid. Then it was time. Ladies and gentlemen, the battle for Pride Rock. The rock that had once stood as a symbol of unity now towered as the seat of tyranny, its defenses and walls having been fully built and manned by the hyenas. King Scarl and Duvid met before any arrows flew in a last-ditch attempt to negotiate peace, an attempt that was already doomed to failure.
Hey, Carl.
I didn't expect to see you alive.
Well, personally, I never expected you to be king either, so, you know, we've got some differences here.
Look, we had a conversation about this, David. We had a conversation about this. If your father fell and you weren't here to rule, someone had to take control. Someone had to lead these people.
You pushed him off, and you made me run away. You chased us away.
I pushed him. I don't know what you're telling. I would never do such a thing with my sword specifically designed for pushing people as far away from me as possible. I would never do such a thing.
Carl, you know I can't let this stand.
What do you plan to do, Duvid?
We're gonna take you down, we're gonna reclaim Pride Rock, and we're gonna bring peace back. And also...
There's already peace. There's already peace. People are prospering.
No, there's not. There's no peace with taxes.
Executions. There's been outrageous taxation. There's been...
What is this, man?
You think this is peace?
Look,
Carl.
I don't think it's really necessary for you to start this war. I don't think it's necessary. I think the people are happy Oh, that's a lot of people on your side.
Yeah,
Carl?
this is as many people
Carl?
that aren't happy with you.
Carl.
Pretty
Carl, are
please
you
don't
really-
take over Pride Rock.
Carl, are you really ready to do this?
Look,
you can stand down right now.
I don't think everyone's really on your side, are they? Are you all
Well, you
really
want to know how they're
against
on
me?
my side?
No.
Balls.
No.
Get him!
Take Pride Rock by force.
Go down.
We charged, but before the first blows could well and truly be struck,
Hear me. I am honored to be the first CEO of the private corporation that has been invited to provide security for the Pride Lands and to the people who still care about peace. Unfortunately, my current appearance has been clouded with a flurry of rumors and speculations that the Star Syndicate itself is evil and developing a weapon of mass destruction capable of rendering the entirety of Blighlands into a wasteland of ash and fire. So I want to address these allegations head on. Are we developing such a weapon? No, we are not. Because we have already developed it. With all due respect, this primitive war you are enacting is a relic from a different time in the long past, when the species were unique in their ability to solve issues of this land, but that just isn't happening anymore. Seen by this clear violation of peace and a treaty that you all signed, so I feel uniquely qualified to tell you, begging that you have outsourced the ability to defend these lands to me, that your ways don't work. Hence why my priorities have changed. From profit to policy, because none of you know how to solve your problems. However, I do. So let me make this perfectly clear. I am here to solve the entire world's problems. And because of all of you, I am forced to believe that the problems of these lands begin with you.
Oh, okay.
Ah!
Who said it?
I'm glad I don't have pants!
I think we should do what we thought of before Dubin.
Yeah,
Yes, we
we
do it now?
thought it. Yeah, do it again.
Okay.
Here we go.
I don't know how we do this. Everyone just follow me, alright?
Has anyone seen Curious around?
You're all safe with us.
What do you mean Curious is dead?
That was crazy.
Cricket,
oh my god, I was looking.
Thank you, Drip Chicken.
You're still
You
alive.
are an angel in a time of need.
back, fall back. Fall back.
Yes, this is a distraction. Everyone fall back.
That's what you are.
Then fall and die!
I really would prefer not to. I think it would be rather hazardous for the truth of the Pride Lands. Ow!
Oh yeah, you're gonna die now.
I mean...
Rose, run to us, run to us, run to us.
Rose!
However, it turned out that Rose was only wounded.
I had gotten off on a technicality, and now I stood alone on the Pride Lands. We had won the battle, but at a cost no one wanted to pay. The only person I knew left standing was Duvid, who had similarly watched his friends die one by one until only he remained. The giraffes and zebras had become entirely extinct, with even Benatopia being reduced to a sparse population. To make matters worse, Skarl had gotten away, shuttled off with the rest of the Ethereal Star Syndicate on one of their ships. While we had won a Pyrrhic victory, the humans had lost very little and made off with the vast majority of the Pride Land's resources, meaning they had won outright. While we were again free, many of us wondered if our fight had truly been worth it in the end. Still, the Pride Lands wasn't without life. Angeliven and Croissant had replanted the Tree of Life in Benatopia's castle, and working with Z-Stuff and Duvid, they would help restart civilization. Duvid himself turned to matatas, a legal drug made by Pumbaa, to restart the economy. Foreign powers had left the island, but establishing contact and assuring they never came back with fair trade was possibly better. All hyenas still remaining were pardoned, becoming part of the reconstruction effort. As for myself, I began writing the final report and chronicling all that had happened. This report is down below in the description. If you so wish, you can search through those pages. Other than that, I spent the rest of my days in sorrow. 3 months after the final report was published, Rose Ganymede died. The cause of death was rumored to have been a broken heart. And I'm afraid that's all I have time for. How long would the Pride Land's newfound peace last? How well would its people recover? What use would the foreign corporations have with our people's resources? The answer, as always, ladies and gentlemen, is floating in the wind. This is Rose, signing off. Rose here. Ha! Yes, I thought the broken heart was a nice touch as well. No, everything is taken care of now. This marks the last of my ties with the Pride Lands. Yes. Of course. Thank you. I'll proceed to the landing strip now. See you in a few. The spring air greets a squirrel freshly awoken from its hibernation. It leaves its tree-dug nest and feels the rumble in its stomach. Perhaps the squirrel has a family to provide for, perhaps it is alone, but regardless, it scrambles off into the dense wood to snag a meal. Soon, however, the squirrel has other concerns on its mind. Machines of metal, creatures of strange origin. They march into the forest and begin systematically removing every tree in sight. It is chaos. The animals who don't flee have their lives mysteriously removed with a few frightening bangs, or get crushed by giant, expressionless monsters that now move through their home. Then, suddenly, they stop. The squirrel, a week later, comes to see their home has been taken by the forces that be, leaving only a field of stumps. Elsewhere, in a city, shelters are built for the homeless. New housing districts are sanctioned and directed. New opportunities and jobs have opened up for hundreds, all because of a small lumber operation a few dozen kilometers outside the city. Those lumberjacks come home, say hello to their families, have a few drinks, and settle down for a game. The squirrel will never know any of this, or even be capable of understanding. It will never influence the city, never strike out against it, never even have an opinion on it. Will it find a new home? Within its limited lifespan, can it find a new home? Where are its neighbors? How long does it live after such an event? The real question is, did the squirrel even matter?
Infrastructure has been a
Stop.
I can't stand by and just
My mind
do
has
nothing.
seen things I never thought possible.
How nice of you to join me.
Yes, thank you for dragging me out here. Apologies for being a little late. This whole ordeal has been rather overwhelming. Especially that building.
We call that a small terminal, dear Rose. I didn't commit a lot of resources here.
Small. As you say. How goes it?
It was quite a success, the plan I built. It was a shame, however, of course. You know, all of those natives going a little bit awry. I'm glad I saved you.
So you're saying this was the desired outcome?
Of course. It was all part of the plan.
Quite the operation, then.
Remember what I told you about the squirrel, Mr. Rose?
Yes, I remember the squirrel, and if that is the case, then why go through all this trouble to bring me over here?
Your mind is more valuable to me, a part of the human race, than out of it. Your media influence has shown me quite a lot.
Well, I do aim to please. You'll be happy to note that I've cut all ties with the Pride Lands as of now.
Good. Let's make it permanent. Come with me. We're good to go. Up. Down. Come on in, dear Rose.
Oh, wow, look at how... Is that gold?
Oh yes, trinkets mostly, mainly. Please, take a seat wherever you please. The table is set for a feast.
Oh, apologies, but my belly is about as shocked as my eyes. Being an animal in the wild, I'm not used to such luxury. Ooh, these seats are...
Indeed. Comfortable, aren't they?
Yes, quite.
You'll be arriving at your destination in 48 hours. You are in the middle of nowhere after all, and this jet can only fly 2,000 kilometers per hour.
Only, you say? Well, I'm still befuddled as to why you even bothered coming out.
Let me just break it down for you, why this island was important to me. You would think that with the resources you see here, such a little place would mean nothing. Here is the little difference. Purity. The metal on the Pride Lands was pure and rich, with another element I might need to be using. Quicksilver, uraninite ingots, and of course, mercury. And one of the rarest elements on the planet Earth was hidden right inside Pride Rock, which would also explain the primitiveness of the entire population. Neodymium magnets.
What?
Neodymium makes magnets. Magnets make power, electricity. These jet engines you hear outside humming away also work based on electrical principles. The iron purity, however, in turn means that each iron we produce on mainland is worth maybe 1 ingot. This iron is worth 3 per each. Imagine what I can do now.
So these esoteric resources facilitate the utopia you're attempting to build?
Once we get to the mainland, you'll see that the utopia is well within the grasp.
In that case, let's make sure we reach out and seize it.
Indeed we shall.
Well, we can drop all pretenses then. I have to ask, exactly who or what are you?
The city we are transported to is named Avalon. It is a capital of Misonia, and my full name, Ethereal
Data expunged.
The Crown Emperor.
I'm sure I'll figure out the gravitas of such titles and names once we land.
Oh, trust me, you will figure it out sooner than you might expect.
By the circle! Oh, hi, this turbulence is something else.
That was just a shockwave, dear Rose. Pridelands as you know it is no more.
Well, yes, after your operation, things did go a little sideways for them.
No, what I mean is there is no more Pridelands. What you felt was simply a shockwave, an after effect.
So that's what a nuclear weapon can do. Do you think that's going to be enough to wrap it all up?
Even if it's not, it will be far too beneath me and you to even consider it.
Yes, well, you'll be happy to know this doesn't change anything. The nuclear weapons are just cementing a fact. Everything I cared about on that island is already long gone.
Good. That makes you the most dangerous man in the world. The one with nothing to lose. Your skills are invaluable, and the plans I have for you, the designs that will be happening, will be sure to cover all of your thirst for knowledge, truth, and most importantly, reality itself.
And that is technically the end of the video. However, I do have some things to get off my chest, some obligations to meet, and some massive credits to hand out. So I'm going to do the credits, then I'm going to talk about the Battle of Pride Rock. There won't be much to look at, so if you want you can put the video on in the background or something. First off, I have to give a huge thank you to Lexi Zargon. It was offhandedly mentioned that it would be cool to have an ad for the business, and I thought it was just going to be a readout, but she ended up making an entire animation for it, which is vastly surprising. Thank you, Lexi. Please, don't overwork yourself. Yet another thank you to Curious More for participating in the Morning Report in-event as well as out of it. Curious was 200% the moral center of the Morning Report, and while I'm bummed out the plan of making her a main character didn't come to fruition, it was still a blast. Technically, this entire video is a credit to Captainlight and the event he put together. But thanks anyways, my dude. It got out of hand, of course, but you ran a good game, and from what I can tell, the vast majority of people had a lot of fun with it. That, and the message stating that if someone died at the very end of the event, it might not be canon, was a literal lifesaver. And the voice line... I'm going to say thank you a lot, aren't I? I got to work a ton with Unknown Ethereal as well, and that was a ton of fun too. We've been talking a lot in and out of character since everything went down, as you clearly saw, and while I can't talk about exactly what's going on, I can safely say that I am excited to see where things go. Here's to you, Ethereal. Another big thank you to everyone who played in the event itself, because it quite literally wouldn't be the same event without the unique flair you all brought to the table. And you. Yes, the person watching. If you made it here, well, frankly, I have no idea what to say. It's an absolute privilege to have you here. And you're probably a cool person. Now I need to talk about the battle because you all lava-casted Pride Rock. Not a string of words I ever thought would be said, but I guess our collective typewriters strike gold every once in a while, eh? Speaking of gold, we need to talk about Golden Knight, Duffson, the Humans' plan, and just how screwed the rebellion truly was. Let's start with the planning stage. The Ethereal Star Syndicate had plans upon plans, at least 3 layers deep, including fake maps and several groups with very specific tasks. What did the Rebellion have? I remember offhandedly saying the back end looked very, very open as, like, a fact, and that's pretty much the extent of what we talked about. We didn't have a plan. And if Ethereal's plan had gone off without a single hitch, we probably would have been cornered and killed upon first entering into the back, since there had been a plan to flank us once we were in, and those hyenas just didn't show up that day, which is... But it didn't end up mattering, because there was a third secret faction in the fight no one saw coming. Headed up by Golden Knight, these guys wanted blood and little else, being completely removed from the events of the previous days and only showing up on day 6 to commit mass murder. And you know what? I know people that would be rubbed the wrong way by that, but they had total freedom to do what they wanted, and did so. It was a good fight, and they ended up gathering Ethereal Star Syndicate resources and murdering many people on both sides while blending into the background. Golden Knight himself killed around 8 people, if I remember correctly, which was second only to Duffson, who had at least 12. Duffson, being the enforcer for a literal alien organization, had access to technology that animals did not. He ran around with his Sharpness 5 sword and just massacred everyone he could touch, eventually getting away with almost entirely broken armor and no sustainability left. If we had pursued for even a minute longer, he'd have died. All this made for a perfect smokescreen for Ethereal and everyone he deemed important to just leave. So, yeah. It didn't go well. Also, shout out to my friends who completely corrupted most of my footage on day 5 by spamming noises.
Wow, dude, Pride Rock is living my child.
I despise you all with a fiery passion unmatched by the primordial first moments of creation. However, I will let it slide because I love you guys. There's also the matter of the hyenas. You'll notice I didn't get to talk about them very much in the video, and that's because there's never been one consensus on who the hyenas truly were. According to hyenas like Xavier's, they were independent but helped out Ethereal significantly and had a strong bond, only doing what they needed to do to further the prosperity of their budding civilization. According to Itziru, the hyenas were doing everything they could to put a target on their back and shouldn't have taken many of the actions and political stances they did, as they viewed trusting Ethereal as a fool's errand. And yet still, according to Age 11, the hyenas were a group of people attempting to stay true to the Tree of Life and each other through a conflict they didn't truly ask for. What is the entire truth of the matter? Well, the sad state of the matter is that when a conflict like this erupts, the details are lost to the fog of war. I can only tell you what I know for certain. The hyenas were a people that did their best to do right by each other through thick and thin, despite several unorthodox methods being employed. They did not deserve to be hunted down or dragged into conflict, but they were. And now the truth of the matter lays with them alone. That being said, a play-by-play on Xavier's perspective was left to us if you want to read it down in the description. I have no time to do that myself in a video already this long, but it's there. Post-production was fun. Things needed to be reshot and touched up for the video, as is typical for big events like this, and we actually got to see Deadline as a human for a second before Lights turned him right back into a parrot. Speaking of Deadline, he was the guy playing the flying parrot, and I ended up accusing him of arson, when that was literally the only crime he was innocent of committing. He destroyed crops, salted fields, committed political discourse, spread vast amounts of misinformation, but arson? Nope! The arson was actually committed by Crow, who'd gotten suspicious of the news despite the fact that I was purely loyal to him until day 4. The chaos of rampant suspicion is truly wonderful, is it not? Anyways, I keep saying that events in my video and Captainlight's video may very well be portrayed differently, and that's standard fare. I remember watching a video done by the Sultanate in Ish's big Civ event, with an alternate side of events that everyone got up in arms about because everyone thought Ish lied, when he really needed to bring things to a close and ensured everyone at least got an ending that fit with the story, which is entirely understandable. I don't want people to be up in arms, that's just drama me and Lights don't need, so just know, for the 4th time, that I don't know how much this differs, and I don't know how much the lore me and Ethereal put down is even canon. And while we're on that topic, I learned a lot about the events themselves. This one was a really roleplay heavy event, but the rules on metagaming and whatnot were fast, loose, and up to individual playstyle, which is just crazy to me. The line between character and player fluctuate harder than a pulsar having a panic attack, and it was a spectacle to behold. Some of them really got into it. I mean, there was a whole 30 minutes where Curious Moore was so stressed she was just muttering in the bird's secret underwater hideout like a total psychopath. That's right, get roasted, bird person. I had a whole plan when I was going to die mid-fight, and Curious was going to take the reins, but it ended up happening in reverse, which is a shame. But now I get to spend the next event as the exact same guy, which I can milk to no end. I mean, like, imagine everyone you cared about is dead, so you cut all ties and leave after attaching yourself to a higher purpose, then Curious just rolls up like, "Hey!" Next event. How much of a brain disaster is that for a character like Rose? And yes, the lore is getting meta now. I don't feel like this is news. It appears I don't know how to end a video, so I will now inform you that creating editing software was humanity's first mistake, and giving it to me was its second.
Hi, Billy Mays here. Why am I smashing my hand with this hammer? And this hammer is
boring. Stop having a boring life. Here, you're gonna love my nuts.
and balls.
You're gonna have an exciting life now.
Even after continuous pounding, I'm gonna run over my hand with this 6,000-pound car.
This knife is so dull, it won't even cut this sponge. It's worthless. Forget about it.
My dog is staring at me. She's really judgmental. She's like, "What the fuck are you talking about, Mom? Are you talking to the voices in your head again?" Yes, I am. Always.